Hello, my name is Gabby Turner and welcome to Astro Hi-Fi. So in this video we're going to be looking at the Capricorn full moon, which is taking place on July 13th, 2022. And I'm just going to be looking at the overall energies that are captured in the chart. So basically, like, what's happening at the moment of this new moon? How can we describe the energies that this full moon is going to be bringing to a head for us at this time? With a little bit of focus maybe on what types of manifestations would best be supported by this. So first, okay, so this is an interesting, in terms of numerology, the full moon is happening at 21 degrees and 21 minutes with the sun in Cancer and the moon in Capricorn. Of course, a full moon always happens when the moon and the sun are in their exact opposition to each other, so they're both at 21:21. And this does feel to me like completion. In the tarot deck, the 21st card in the major arcana is the World card, and the World card is the end of the major arcana. And so it does speak of some sort of significant moment coming to completion. The full moon, even of itself, does also talk about energy sort of coming to a head. And so let's talk about also just like the general symbolism of a full moon, because I feel like that will help to sort of set the pace for what I want to say about this full moon, which is that, the moon in and of itself is the part of any person's chart that is the most vulnerable and the most personal to them. It's the place where we need the most self-protection, where we want to protect ourselves the most. It's where we can be the most wounded. You know how when you're really close to someone, when you have a close relationship, sometimes it's with our siblings or our close family members, people who have really gotten to know us, right? And they've seen as much of a real part of us as we're willing to show to anyone. These are the people who really know how to trigger us because they have greater access to that moon part of us. Now, the interesting thing that happens, of course, when we have a full moon is that the moon is much more open about revealing itself than usual because it's in complete opposition to the sun. The sun is illuminating at least one side of the moon. There's always going to be a dark side of the moon, right? The moon is never going to totally reveal itself. But at a full moon, the moon does reveal itself more than it does at other times because it's more illuminated. What this means is that for all of us, it's a little bit harder for us to hide our true feelings and our fears and insecurities because the moon, again, is trying to protect us against anything that might, come and wound us in those places where we are the most self-protective. So a full moon does bring about a lot of, it brings a lot of stuff out to the surface, stuff that normally maybe we're a little bit more capable of keeping hidden. If you think about the symbolism of werewolves, or even the fact that, this is, I think, proven statistically that during full moons, there are more visits to ERs, there are more crimes committed, I think. People who work in hospitals report that these are just crazier times in hospitals. So the full moon just seems to draw things out, as I said, that normally would be hidden. And this is interesting because this full moon is actually, as you can see, conjunct the planet Pluto. Pluto also has that bringing skeletons out of the closet type of a modus operandi to it, So when we have Moon and Pluto conjunct, this is a very sensitive full moon, I feel like, because and it's happening in the sign of Capricorn as well. So things that have been long hidden or guarded, parts of ourselves emotionally that we've kept very hidden, or even that other people have kept hidden from us, may very well be coming to the surface right now. And it could be because with the Sun conjunct to Mercury over here in Cancer, it could be that some of the people who are closest to us, because Cancer has to do with, again, it's the sign that the moon rules. So we were just talking about like the close personal connections we have, the people who know us the best, who have seen the more personal aspects of who we are. These people there may be more communication happening because we have Mercury here. Of course, Mercury always hangs out pretty close to the sun anyways, but it does feel like it's a time when communications might be coming up with the people that we have close bonds with, and surprising things could be coming to the surface. There is also a sextile here from the Sun to Uranus, and a trine from Uranus to the Moon. So this is positive. So I feel like, Uranus brings that shock factor, that surprising factor. We also have the nodes involved. So I feel like there are going to be necessary revelations happening. People will be revealing a lot more about their feelings with this full moon than normal, even feelings that they've been holding on to for a long time. Because I think that there's a sense of, you know what, I just need to go for it. I just need to finally get this off my chest, I think for the most part this would be positive, but of course we're all individuals. These planetary placements are all going to be aspecting our individual natal charts differently, but that is the overall vibe I get. It's a good time to sort of be letting things out and having those deep conversations that need to be had. Now I took this down to, like, for the orbs, 40%. So this isn't showing with a line here, but there is also a trine aspect between Neptune and the Sun, and a sextile here between the Moon, Pluto, and Neptune. So there is also a beneficial aspect applied to this full moon from Neptune. And Neptune also has to do with secrets and things like that. So I just feel that there's something here where secrets are surprisingly being revealed more than what you would expect. Something along those lines. Neptune also brings to the table is compassion and understanding. So somebody could be revealing something about themselves to you, or vice versa, or both. And this could be a time where you just feel like, oh, okay, I understand why maybe you weren't telling me all of that. It makes sense now. Let me see. The other thing that I get here, other than the aspects that the Sun and Moon are making, which are always important during a new moon or full moon, is that Venus is having a very close aspect at the 24th degree of a trine to Saturn. So Venus is in Gemini. Venus is feeling very social in Gemini. Venus is wanting to have communications and get to know people, to be that social butterfly. And then we have the trine aspect to Saturn in Aquarius. So it feels like, and we saw this actually, some kind of essence of this with the previous new moon in Cancer as well, that it seems to be a good time still to get to know new people, to develop new acquaintances, because Aquarius and Gemini are both very people oriented, and Saturn in Aquarius is actually in one of the signs that it rules. It rules Capricorn and Aquarius. So Saturn acts very well here in Aquarius. And this can be a time of like making friendships that really go the distance, because Saturn brings that permanence to Venus. So if you are wanting to develop long-term friendships, this is a great energy for that. And if you want to do some sort of magic or manifestation around attracting new long-term friendships, or even, bringing greater solidity and endurance to your existing friendships or other types of relationships, this feels more friendship oriented to me, but it could be anything. This is a great energy for that. And also just generally maybe facilitating, maybe if you wanted to expand your professional networks, any sort of networking with groups of people, getting your name, getting some sort of contact that would help facilitate some future plans that you're trying to develop. This is also a great energy. Now, we do have a square, though, between Venus and Neptune. So when that happens, it's always good to keep in mind, maybe not to get too idealistic. You have to keep grounded. There is the trine with Saturn, so I think that it's a lot easier to keep grounded than if we just had this aspect to Neptune without Saturn being involved. But Neptune can sometimes make us put on rose-colored glasses, in aspect to Venus. Rose-colored glasses regarding the people that we're meeting and getting to know, or even the people that we already know. It can keep us from kind of seeing the full reality. But I wouldn't worry about this too much, because, again, we have Saturn here to sort of ground things and keep us a little bit realistic. But it is just something to be mindful here, that influence there of Neptune can bring some sort of confusion about who is this person. They seem to be this person, but maybe they're not quite that person after all. But yeah, I think overall, like what this full moon brings is that there will be some greater truths being revealed about who people truly are, what kind of baggage maybe people have been carrying that you never knew, and vice versa. What we also see is it looks like it's an approaching conjunction of Jupiter to Chiron in Aries. So that is, it's still 8 degrees apart. It is beginning to approach, though. So it does feel like this could bring a sort of healing energy. Jupiter brings a boost to anything that it comes in contact with. So here with Chiron, this is helping us to understand how to put energy into self-care when it comes to putting ourselves first, and how to assert ourselves in a way that is healthy both for us and others, so because we don't want to be a doormat, but we don't want to be bulldozing other people either. So Chiron in Aries kind of helps us find the healthy point between those two, the healthy balance between those two. But that'll be something that continues to approach. We might see that more coming up. And yeah, I guess that's it. We still have this Uranus and North Node approaching, which I've talked about in the previous video. It just means, expecting the unexpected when it comes to anything related to the sign of Taurus. So money, resources, our ability to access the goods that we want to access, and all of that type of stuff. All right, so that's what I see here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.